Like I'm chatting to him.
Are we on? We're live.
We're live.
I'm with Smart Eagles. Can you guys pick me up? Can they hear this? I don't need to be mic'd up or anything. Yeah, we're here at Simoson. You see, they're here to interview me. I don't want to take over the show, so you guys do your thing.
Okay, good morning viewers. Welcome to another edition of the Candid Talk segment. You are live on Smart Eagles, and today we'll be talking to our very own Simon. Is it Simon or Simpson?
No, Simon Mwewale. It's actually Chitambala Mwewa,
Okay.
aka SML.
Oh.
Simon Mwewale.
Okay, so the Simpson building, does the name, like, did they name it after you? What's the whole?
No, the building Simoson is named after. It's an amalgamation of Simon and you see the original idea. My father built this building in 1986, but it was opened in '87.
Okay.
And in those days, in the '80s, whenever you would see buildings, you would always see Patel and Sons, Gupta and Sons, or as an example. So originally he wanted to put Simon and Sons, but then my father I have sisters as well, So he didn't want to feel like they were left out. So he came up with just a generic name, a single name, Simoson. But the name Simoson has his name in it, Simo. When he was young, they used to call him Simo for short.
Okay.
Yeah, his name was Simon, but they used to call him Simo. Yeah.
Okay, good to hear that. And I think you said it was built in 1970?
No, not 70, girl. It was built in 1986, but it was opened in 1987. We've been here for 33 years.
Oh, really?
In this spot.
And I think for those days, for someone to own such buildings, it was a really big luxury. So would you like to tell us maybe what kind of job or what kind of profession your father was in?
Sure. He served as governor of the city of Lusaka. He also served as mayor. At one stage, he was the MD of Zambia National Building Society. And he held several portfolios within during the UNIP era. Sorry. Antoine. Eveni chite besepu. Mubanga. Bantu abulumendo bamboku chitakwati bale mpange chongo mumatu. Tulipa interview bambe ifya bale chite fyabo. Hello. Road Mafala. Spoil me oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
You are talking about the profession that your father was in.
Yes.
Yes.
So, he was governor of Lusaka, mayor, MD of Zambia National Building Society.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he was a member of the Central Committee. You guys don't know what that is. During UNIP, whenever you said so-and-so was a member of the Central Committee, honey, that was a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah, but you kids don't know what. If I said MCC to you, like, what's MCC? But in UNIP's time, that was a huge deal. Yeah. So he was a member of Central Committee.
Oh, that's really nice. You are not so fluent in English. Probably people would like to be inspired by your educational background. Would you like to tell us, to tell the viewers about your educational background?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm not even a smart guy. I mean, I don't have any lofty degrees. I don't have any big titles. People think I'm this smart guy. I'm not. The only saving grace I have is I love to read. Okay, I love to read, and that's the only thing. But I don't have big qualifications. I completed high school, and then at the time, in the late 80s, I attended a theological institution in Louisiana, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And at the time, I felt called to go into the ministry. Of course, I took a different direction. And I have a degree in philosophy and theology. That's it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't have any. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a I'm not a big scholar.
So even your accent, you get it from books because your accent is really
Well,
fluent.
my accent is it's what they call a residual accent.
What's that?
It's an acclimated accent. You know, the Apostle Paul said, "Be all things to all men." So if I'm sitting here talking to some kadas out here, you have to shift. Okay, you have to adapt. So it's an acclimated accent.
Okay.
It just shifts.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're known for your cleanliness. We saw when
My cleanliness.
Yes, your
Cleanliness ta kwa. Cleanliness. Ah, bueno. Ya trae un papeleo. Y ahora es.
Okay.
Let's start again.
Your cleanliness.
No, you said it again. You say you're known for your cleanliness. Say cleanliness. Not the cleanliness, mami. Say cleanliness. Clean.
Okay, I failed. Okay.
No, don't say that. Don't say you failed. Just try again.
As
say,
long as communication has been achieved.
Kuribe, mami. Kuribe. Say it right. Say cleanliness.
Cleanliness.
There you go. Boom. Boom.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm known for my cleanliness, in part, in part.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you can see that this place is really clean.
Well, it's not as clean as it should be. Let me emphasize. We're trying. Let me say something very important here. People don't realize, because Simoson has been around for 33 years, for many, many years. And there was a good portion of those years that we went through a really awkward stage. I mean, things were really bad here. It was a mess. So there are lots of people who haven't been to this building for many years. They still have the picture of what it was in those days. Let me backtrack a bit. When it was first built, it was a lovely building. But then over time, because of lack of maintenance, lack of keeping up with the standards, the building sort of lost its beauty. Yeah. So people thought that it did go through an ugly stage. But right now we're trying. We're making sure that the place is as clean as possible. We're not there yet. But let me put it this way: we're much better than where we were 10 years ago.
Okay.
You must know that.
So what's really the inspiration behind your cleanliness?
Well, I don't think there's an inspiration behind that. It's just, I think it's everybody's civic duty to want to live in a clean environment as best as you can. What
differentiates you from others? Because you can say it's a civic duty, but there's some people that don't mind throwing garbage anyhow, but you take it up on yourself to make sure that whichever environment that you're in, you make sure that you maintain a certain standard of cleanliness. So what do you think differentiates you from the rest? Well, what cuts me, what makes me think what differentiates me from anybody else, I don't know. I just do me. Okay. Yeah. You are the founder of the Dream of a Clean Lusaka. Yes. Tell us more about that. Well, that came out because I was tired of driving through the central business district and seeing a filthy city. And then the only time you experienced cleanliness was when you traveled outside of the country. Was when you'd go to Dubai or the Maldives or the Bahamas or wherever it is. And I got tired of that. Manje imwe simuona tipali interview pano mpanga chong. Goodness. Okay. Yeah. It's insane. All right. Okay. Yeah. We're talking about the Dream of a Clean Lusaka. Yes. So I got tired of always only seeing clean cities when I would leave Lusaka. So I thought, well, we can have that. We can have a clean city. There's nothing impossible about that. So I dream that one day our city will be clean from end to end, not just spots. This place is clean and that place, no. From end to end. And for that to be achieved, everybody needs to come on board. That means me, you, the next person over there, the man behind the counter, everybody. What do you think we're lacking as a country for us to achieve a clean Zambia or a clean Lusaka? And what do you think is that one thing that the government can do or impose to make sure that we achieve a clean Lusaka and a clean Zambia?
That's a multi-layered question. First of all, we have a mindset that has to be shifted. You constantly hear this. There's always this talk. No, change the mindset. That's a very real thing. If you don't change the mindset of our people, nothing will be achieved. The other layer to that is consistency, enforcement of the laws, because in Zambia, it's very possible today to say, Lelo, twala fumiama street vendors mumsebo, and then tomorrow they're there.
Okay.
Why? Because there's no enforcement. There's a lot of decree, there's a lot of pronouncements, a lot of those, but very few levels of enforcement and making sure that what is said is done. It's very important. It's not there. It's not happening. And let me hasten to add, it will not happen by itself. It doesn't happen by spontaneous combustion. It's a deliberate effort. If you want something achieved, make sure you follow through and make sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. Yeah.
That's really good. We saw at the time when Zambia was experiencing the cholera pandemic, the military people were brought in.
Yes.
And most people criticized the way they were carrying out their duties, maybe let's say punishing offenders who would throw litter or garbage anywhere. Do you think that would also help if it can be brought back again? Do you think that was necessary or it's still needed looking at the current situation of our city?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, our people are designed, we are wired in such a way that the only way we get certain messages is if we are forced to do it, if we're compelled to do it. If you leave us to our own devices, now abuka vyati yo abena Zambia abene bara fisova you have to compel our people. You have to push our people. If you don't do it, you won't get the results.
Okay. Okay, we shift back to the other segment of our question. Your beef with Tayali.
With who?
With Tayali, Mr. Tayali.
Girl, I'm leaving. Well, listen.
How did you find yourself in
Oh,
there?
that's such a
and
long
how
story.
did
That's
you-
such a long story. Well,
You can cut it short.
okay, let me break it down. Basically, he published false information about me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said some horrible things that were not true, and that dented my image, and so I took him to court. So the matter is in court.
Of all the people, why did he attack you?
Ask him that. I don't know.
Okay.
That's a good question, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question. Because at the time he did that, I also wondered, well, why would you do that? And this is why this case is very important. Let me say, moving forward, we're going to see a shift and a change in the way we're going to see a shift and a change in the way people conduct themselves on the internet. In the next 3 to 5 years,
Okay.
the internet interaction engagement landscape in Zambia is going to be very different.
And
Because of cases like this,
Okay.
because of my case with Tayali, because of Chela Tukuta's case with Dora Celia, and things like that. Those cases are going to set a precedent that will change the trajectory of how people conduct themselves on the internet.
Okay.
It's coming, folks.
Okay.
Get ready, get ready, get ready. It's coming.
Okay. You've mentioned of Chela Tukuta. I
Yeah.
think I saw a post some previous nights ago
Yeah.
about him attacking you.
Right.
Tell us more about that.
Well,
as
what
well.
happened? Let me tell you. Last night, he said he was trying to call me. He was trying to phone me. And I haven't talked to Chela Tukuta since we did an interview together. That's the last time I spoke to him. We sort of, I mean, I have no dealings with him apart from that one interview. Some months ago, I wrote an article about the language that people in Kopala use. the insults, insele. That was the focus of that article. I have children. My wife and I, we teach our children how to speak to people. Muchinshi, respect for elders. My point of that article was that was my point. Chela Tukuta took that as, no, you're attacking the copper belt before we are copper. So I ran the finger, Sabaila figure, you know. So and then I some fumamo figure. So, well, you know, I mean, I don't know you. So last night he was trying to phone me, and I saw his and I said, well, there's no reason for me to talk to him. So he sends me a message and says, Mom, Dad, I'm phone. And my response to him was, for what, man? Why would I answer my phone? You and I have nothing in common. As soon as I said that, boom! He goes on his page. Hey, hey. So last night, I stayed up till about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I really thought about him, and I wrote an article in response to him. Chela Tukuta is actually bipolar. People don't know this.
What does that mean?
He's got it's almost like a split personality. You know, today he can laugh with you, tomorrow he can insult you.
Okay.
Yeah. Those people they're not emotionally stable.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it's a sad situation. It really is.
And do you think it's also a sign of him trying to gain relevance? Because we've been seeing you're not the only victim. Just the other day, he was uttering insults at our president, calling him a coward.
Which president?
He called ECO a coward.
Oh, you mean the Republican president?
The Republican
yes.
president,
Oh,
yes.
yeah. I mean, that's Chela Tukuta for
Do you
you.
think that's a way of trying to gain relevance or internet attention or some sort?
Well, let me tell you what I think. I think that Chela Tukuta thinks that he is above reproach. But the truth is, when you break the law will come to you.
Okay.
Yeah. We all have opinions, but just operate within the confines of the law. Let me guarantee you, Chela Tukuta is going to prison.
Okay.
When this case that he's with, when the dust settles and when the dew dries, he is going to prison because the evidence is there, you know.
Okay, that brings us to another topic. People trying to misuse social media, to abuse social media. It's like with this era of social media, everyone is a journalist now. They can report in any way they want to.
Everyone's an expert.
They can talk about anyone in a way they want to, and they're calling it freedom of expression. What can you say about that? It's
dangerous. It's very dangerous, and that's why, you see, the thing is, and that's why we applaud organizations like Cyber Hygiene Zambia. Zicta's doing something, but they're not scratching, they're just scratching the surface, okay? They need to do more. Of course, you cannot police people on the internet. You cannot regulate people because people will say what they want. That's why I love the block button.
Okay.
Block. Block. Block and delete.
Yes.
That's you know that. Do you know that that's a God-given feature?
Oh,
did you know this?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, that feature was designed in the hallowed halls of glory.
Okay.
Your friend's looking at me like I think, Mr. Moyo, I don't think that's true.
So we've been saying like you've also been like a notion of criticism to say like everyone can wake up to criticize you in any way.
It comes with the territory.
Mr. Moa this, Mr. Moa that. How do you handle criticism?
I block.
Okay.
I just block. No. Let me change. Let me change that. The way, and I'm being serious when I say this. The way I handle criticism, as long as it's constructive criticism, I look at it. But if it's insults, oh honey, block, delete. See this finger? Block, delete. Block, delete. And you know the great thing about blocking is that once you block them, you don't even know who they are.
Okay.
You cast them into the abyss of God's forgetfulness. That's what you do. You You cast them down with the sodomites. All right. Okay.
Okay, I've seen you on other social media platforms
Right.
like TikTok.
Right.
I think I've seen
I
you on
love TikTok.
I've seen you on, I don't know, most of these social media platforms. And you being a 21st century man, I think you're just trying to catch up with technology. But some people have come out at you to say, no, he's going through midlife crisis. No, Mr. Moe is childish. No, Mr. Moe, what? Mr. Moe, what do you have to say about that?
You know, I'm so glad you asked that question. Zambians listen to me, especially when we're up on social media. Zambians use the word childish as a default response. They don't even know what it means. Babuka, no, you're childish. Well, ask them. Okay, explain. When you say childish, what do you mean? If I post an opinion, is that childish? What is childish? Define that. If you push them against the wall, many of these Facebook people, and say, explain what you mean by child, they won't know. They'll say, oh no, you're just childish. No, in fact, you are just childish. But they have no way of explaining. So Zambians use the word childish as a default response. It's just something to say. It's a filler. No, he's childish. Really? But why are you saying that? No, I don't know, but you're just childish.
Okay, so would you mind defining to them and qualifying the childish aspect?
Sorry?
Would you mind defining it to them and qualifying the childish aspect?
Someone that's childish is someone that acts immaturely. You know, if you walk into a shop, into a store as an adult, and then you start jumping up and down, no, and therefore I am a sweet, that's childish. You're being childish. But if you have an opinion, an educated, informed opinion, because you see in Zambia, when you are strongly opinionated, especially when you post something that you are familiar with, they just call you childish.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a default response. This is my rule. My rule is, whenever I see that word in the comment section, I don't care what they're saying. As soon as I see the word childish, boom, block, delete. You are gone. If you're right.
Okay, have you registered as a voter?
Oh, honey, I'm ready to vote. I'm gonna vote. Yes, I've registered, and I'm very excited about it. This year's election is going to be epic.
Okay.
Yes, we're not messing around.
So we saw that the ECZ, I think they started this the voter registration process quite early. But when you go to most voter registration centers, you find that the centers are empty. Maybe there are a few people. But on the last day, people started piling up, filling up the voter registration center. Then after the process came to an end, the first phase, people cried for an extension. They gave them another extension, which was 4 days, of course. But still, people are crying for another extension. What can you say about our mentality as Zambians to try to always do things at the last minute?
Let me give you a different take on that. I disagree with that because I think this election, well, this registration phase process that we went through was different. People responded.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my experience, is that people responded. There is no registration apathy this time around. People are enthusiastic about voting. They're geared to vote. I mean, my own kids, I had my wife, my kids. My kids are my older kids. I have 4 children. My older kids, the first 3, they all registered to vote, and they're excited about voting. You know, and they were telling me, Dad, for the first time, I'm going to vote. I'm going to be part of the process, and they're excited. They're stoked. So I disagree that there was a sort of like a registration apathy. I don't think so. I think
not really a registration apathy, but people coming to vote at the last minute. Because we saw a lot of people coming to vote at the last minute.
You mean coming to register?
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
pardon
coming
me.
to register.
Coming to register at the last minute.
Well, my experience was that it was pretty consistent. I think it was, it was, of course, it sort of peaked near the end, you know, because there were some people that waited till the very last minute. But in terms of consistency, I thought that it pretty much, it was consistent. There was a huge turnout. People really wanted to register to vote. So make sure you vote.
The registration process is over now. What's remaining with is voting in the next coming year, 2021. What word of encouragement can you give to a
Vote wisely. Vote for the candidate you like. Vote for the person that you want to see in office next year. Exercise your right to vote. If you don't vote, don't complain about anything. You don't have a voice if you don't vote. Whichever party, whichever political affiliation you lean towards, exercise your right to vote.
Your last words to the viewers.
My last words are, folks, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Let's look forward to 2021. 2020 has been a very difficult year for everybody. We're praying, hoping that 2021 will be very, very different. And you know, let's just roll with the punches. Are you familiar with that phrase, roll with the punches?
I think so.
Yeah, let's just roll with the punches. And let's live life. Life and living, not death and dying. Are we done? Are we out?
We're done.
Thanks, guys. God bless. Love you. Mwah.